Hey, what's up? Thank you for stopping by my channel. My name is Ginj or TCG or Chris, and I'm gonna be making a new YouTube channel for like rogue anti-meta Pokemon TCG decks. And before I get into the deck I'm gonna be playing today, which is on screen, I just wanted to say thank you for stopping by my channel. And if there's any decks or deck ideas you want me to make, please let me know. I'm down to play anything from like meta top performing decks to some new type of archetype you want me to create or you created you want me to showcase. So thank you for stopping by and I hope you enjoy the video. For the video today, I made this Arceus deck based off my only day 2 performance at a regional. I played Arc, Flying Pikachu, and Tapu Koko at the Pittsburgh regional and made day 2 with it because it countered a lot of like the top decks at the time. And for today I made like a similar deck with pretty much the same concept, with Arceus as it's not necessarily the primary attacker, but it's your pretty much your only sort of like engine for the deck. It's how you get your energy into play. It's how you basically set up the rest of your game based on the matchup you're playing. With the Starbirth ability, searching for 2 cards is kind of what you need to get going, and Trinity Nova sets up the other big attacker, which is Goodra. This, I think, is the primary attacker for most of your matchups. Being able to put 2 Goodra in play kind of just locks down decks like Lugia and Gardevoir from keeping that like constant 2 prize card KO going because of the Rolling Iron damage reduction. Although it's a little hard and tricky to set up with a water metal energy combo, Arceus makes that really easy because Trinity Nova allows you to accelerate 3 basic energy from your deck to your Pokemon V in any way. So it's not super difficult to get these Goodra going. And usually like the only Pokemon I have in play are like 1 Arceus V-Star and then 2 Goodra or 2 Noivern for the other matchups that Goodra doesn't really carry in. Like I said, Goodra does most of the work for most matchups. I mean, looking at the big decks, you're looking at Guardy, Dragapult, Lugia. Goodra's going to carry you. It even does work against like Future Hands, which I don't use Noivern for, which I'll explain, because Future Hands, although it does get the damage buff from Iron Crown, it really doesn't hit through Goodra's Rolling Iron. And some other cards have included to help kind of beef up your Goodras. Against decks like Raging Bull or basic only decks like Raging Bull, Miraidon, that's where I'll be using Noivern EX for the Covert Flight attack. For 70 damage and 2 colorless energy, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by basic Pokemon. And although that does sound sweet against something like Future Hands, like a Future type box, Iron Crown does have Shred. So if they have Psychic Energy in their deck, I found that Noivern isn't necessarily the best attacker. But if you're at like a local or a big tournament or something like that, and you're playing a best of 3, and you've seen your opponent's deck, and you see that they're really not playing Psychic Energy in their Future Box deck, Noivern's 100% the way to go. But Goodra could totally carry you through the matchup. Honestly, with that one, it's whatever is easier for you to get set up. I don't have a draw engine in this deck because I try to keep the focus on Goodra and Noivern, and I don't necessarily want people to have ways to kind of gust around those attackers, because then it kind of nullifies the damage reduction and it could create like a prime catcher boss like loop to get around a Noivern. So I found it, I guess more optimal to play without a draw engine entirely. I am playing a one of Ditto just for consistency purposes. With the Transformative Start ability, you can discard the Ditto on your first turn and search for a basic Pokemon. And since this deck does prefer to go first for Arceus' famous Attach Pass turn 1, you're almost playing like a 5th Arceus V-Star, or if you're playing against Raging Bull, you know, you've got 3 Noibat or another Arceus, which could help get your game going a little bit more. In terms of supporters, because that's really where you're going to see most of your deck, we're playing 3 Arven, 3 Iono, 3 Judge, and 1 Morty's Conviction to help you kind of disrupt your opponent's hand, see more cards in your deck, as well as get going with some different tools I found to help a lot of your matchups. So that's why we play Arven, because a lot of times in the early game, really all you need is 1 Ultra Ball and insert random tool here to help kind of get that game flowing, and from there it's pretty easy to take off. So I've included 3 Arven as well. 3 Boss's Orders is pretty nice because, I mean, you want like a higher amount because we don't have a draw engine, and some Gust is nice a lot of the time. So it's, 3 I found is a solid amount to include in the deck and find pretty easy. You could play a 4th. I played Serena as well because a lot of decks are running Rotom V for like a early game support and Luminion. So if you play Serena, you have that option to gust a benched V Pokemon, which isn't that bad, and you have the options to draw up to 5 cards if you discard a couple cards, which is pretty solid as well. I wouldn't say it's a necessity for the deck, but if you wanted that 4th support, I think that would be the most optimal one. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty... Item-wise, it's a pretty standard list. We've got one Enhanced Hammer to deal with things like Legacy Energy in Lugia's deck on Minchinos, because sometimes those get a little annoying. Honestly, they don't really end the game for us, but, you know, if we could get rid of it, it doesn't hurt. As well as I think the bigger purpose for it is to deal with the Neo Upper Energy that's seen in Dragapult decks. Because a lot of times, like, Dragapult doesn't do that much damage to Goodra once you get the Rolling Iron going. It's only swinging for 120 damage. But if they play that Neo Upper Energy, it's a really easy way for them to create a backup attacker. So if you could get rid of that with Enhanced Hammer, you really kind of slow them down even more, which will help you in the long run, since we're playing a 2-shot game on their Dragapult, and they're playing a 3-shot game on our Goodra, so it helps buy us an extra turn. We're also playing Panic Mask and Hero's Cape to make these Goodras more invincible. I guess it could help Noivern too, but primarily Goodra. It helps make them a bit more like invincible seeming because they could live a lot more attacks. Hero's Cape, 100 extra HP, can't hurt when you're taking 80 less damage per attack. It really could make some opponents a bit more upset, especially against Gardevoir. It really puts Arceus and Goodra out of that OHKO range with their Drift Blooms, which is like the biggest thing. Panic Mask is there specifically for the Guardy matchup, and it does come into play a lot with Goodra and other matchups, but it does help the most in Guardy, because if they want to take that OHKO with the Drift Bloom, they put themselves at less than 40 HP, which means that Panic Mask comes into effect and the card it's attached to doesn't take damage by that Pokemon. So if you put this on an Arceus early on in the game and they go to do that 300 damage KO by putting 5 energy on a Drift Bloom, they actually can't attack Arceus. So if an opponent misplays and doesn't realize what it does, that's awesome. Or it forces a 2-shot game, which is better for us since we're playing a 2-prize deck. EXP share I put because I don't have any recovery in the deck. Honestly, I found it's not totally necessary. I had a Rodden. I didn't think it was super necessary because I'm really not getting Pokemon back that often. So I put an EXP share just to help if, you know, you're playing a match with Goodra and you kind of need some energy floating around once one is KO'd. I found EXP share usually does the trick to help you with that. But I guess, like, if you wanted to switch that out for a Rod, I can't see that hurting either. Energy, we're playing a very standard energy count for Arceus. We got, I believe it's 15 energy in the deck. We got 4 double turbos, 1 jet, and 2 mist, and then a 4/4 count of water metal energy. In terms of switch outs, we got the 1 jet, the 1 switch, and Canceling Cologne to deal with the 1 of Mimikyu in case it's in a Guardy deck or someone else had that as a possible tech to deal with things like Raging Bolt. We got the Canceling Cologne. And last, we got Lost City, which kind of helps clean up some pesky attackers. If a deck is playing Mimikyu, like Stall, you know, it's an easy Starbirth for Canceling Cologne, Lost City. Let's put that Mimikyu in the no-no zone because we don't want to see it for the rest of the game because we have no other way to deal with that thing. Also against Guardy, it could really help against things like Drift Bloom. If Guardy's, which is kind of popular now, is only playing 1 Drift Bloom, if you Lost City that early game, your chances of winning skyrocket. So I found Lost City to be the most optimal tool, or optimal stadium in the deck. But I also did kind of like the idea of a 1 of Tool Jammer for Guardy. Yes, it does hurt your Hero's Cape, but if they vacuumed it and you get that Silent Tower later in the game, you really could take an easy KO on a Drift Bloom without them even realizing it. But I didn't like that too much because it does hurt us as well, so it wasn't the best one in my opinion, but it's definitely something worth trying out. So yeah, I mean, before we begin, I'm gonna be showcasing 3 different games with this deck. So let's hope for a positive record. All right, so let's get going in match number 1. Our opponent chose for us going first, which means they could be playing a deck with some donk potential. This hand isn't perfect, but it's totally manageable in a deck like this. I mean, we got a Nest Ball to get a whatever primary attacker we're going to use, and we're just going to see. They're playing Greninja. Okay, so that could be a little scary, because Greninja does hit 4 weakness on Arceus and can take it out in one shot. But Goodra does work against the rest of this deck if we could set 2 of them up. So that's going to be the play we're going for here. We draw an extra card, which is kind of nice. Dig 1 card deeper in the deck. And let's see what we got. Alright, solid. Arceus' favorite type of turn. Attach. Play a Nest Ball for a basic energy, because we're not passing yet. We got 2 Goodra in the deck, which is perfect. Do we have both the V-Stars? We do. Okay. We got some Judge. 1 Iono's prized. What tools do we got? Panic Mask is prized. This is a little upsetting. And we got enough energy to get 2 Goodra set up. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's a solid turn 1. I'm not worried about them taking a turn 1 KO against me, because they do have to evolve into Greninja EX, but they will have the opportunity to set up their board a lot. And they're playing Snow Run, so they're going to be going Frostlass, which is a little scary, but you know, we could definitely work around it. Ooh, this is a bad hand. This is not good. I might just go for a Trinity Charge here. Just evolve Goodra into Goodra VSTAR. I don't see a point in taking out a Power Edge if he gets a KO next turn. I mean, this happens sometimes with the deck. I mean, you know, we're not playing an engine, so sometimes you just get Iono'd or judged into a pretty poor hand. But if we get set up defensively enough, we'll be all right. And he's got Rotom. Okay, I was gonna say if he's just got 2 cards in hand, that's not bad for us. But he's got the Rotom, but he's only got 4 cards, so we might be in a similar situation. I will take another Nest Ball. Actually, that is definitely fine by me. We will evolve a Goodra here. We had 1 less metal energy in the deck, so I'm going to play that one now. And I'm going to Trinity Charge, but I'm not going to put an energy on the Arceus in case it gets KO'd. So we'll do 1 metal and 2 waters. That way. Both Goodras are just 1 energy away. It could be any energy we got from swinging, which could be big. So we'll see what our opponent does here with Greninja EX. I love that deck, by the way. It's an awesome deck. I was really hoping someone would cook with that at NAIC, but I didn't get a chance to really dive into the Day 2 players. I know it's posted on Limitless as of today, but I did glance at it, and I didn't see any Greninja, which made me a little sad. And they just go for a big instant charge. Draw 3, ends their turn. And that is the perfect top deck. I'm going to get rid of Cologne and Arceus here, because they might play a special energy, like a DTE, that I might try to get rid of it with Enhanced Hammer. And I'm just going to run it with Arceus. Now, ideally, I would like to save my V-Star power for Moisture Star, which full heals my Goodra. But they've got a big hand, and I have nothing in my hand. So I think I might just play it now to try to hold them back a little bit and keep us going. And I think I'm going to Starbirth for... I'm thinking Goodra VSTAR, definitely, because we got to evolve that second one and make sure we can keep going with that. And I'll probably just go Judge. I mean, it's early game. It'll put them at 4 cards. Luckily for us, they haven't gotten Rare Candy Pidgeot into play. Let's see if we could force another turn with Instant Charge. I think I like that. And as long as we don't judge into the rest of our energies, Trinity Nova will make sure both Goodras are set up, and there we go. Actually, Lost City I really like too. I think I'm going to play that now, because if we could stop him from getting these back, that'll stop some continuous easy damage on pretty all of our Pokemon at this point. So yeah, we're going to run it with that. And there we go. We got the water-based Goodra, the metal-based Goodra. And I like where we're sitting. Now I really like where we're sitting. I mean, we got an Arven for next turn too, which is nice. There's no item I think that's really gonna save us, but we could get. I think Cape is definitely the better card in this deck. Okay, so we had Arven, so Rare Candy Greninja there, and he's got Forest Seal Stone, so we'll see if he's got another Rare Candy or Pidgeot in his hand, because he'll Forest Seal Stone for the other one. And this is why we kept Enhanced Hammer. We will probably rip that now on the Froakie just to stop some bench damage if we can. And let's see if he's got Rare Candy Pidgeot in his hand. He played a supporter this turn, so I don't have to worry about him taking a research or something. Unfair Stamp, that's a great card to play right now, but that's his ace spec, which is nice to know. That it's not Prime Catcher, can't go for a loop, and it is completely a lie. Those were the two best cards I probably could have drawn into. And he takes a Frogadier. Okay. So our opponent has an attack here, but they have one card in hand and they can't afford to instant charge. Oh, but they can Shinobi Blade, that's right. I forgot. Shinobi Blade has an epic effect. Just search your deck for any card and put it in the deck. Which is kind of upsetting. I think I might, honestly, try to boss up this Pidgey here, though. Because I really don't want to see Pidgeot EX come into play. That would be like Bad News Bears, because that will help this deck really get going if they could search for essentially two cards, one with Pidgeot EX and one with Shinobi Blade. So if I can take out a Pidgey now, I think that will help us. And I'm not too scared of a Greninja. I'll put the Mist Energy on the active, why not? I'm not too scared of Greninja because once you take off the 80 damage from Rolling Iron, they're only doing 90 damage a turn, which you know, is 3-shotting me, so I'm not too scared of that, because I'm 2-shotting them, so I think I might chase this thing down now, and depending on what happens to their hand size this turn, I'm probably will Iono next turn, although I'm not really looking for anything at this point. Now I'm just going to be doing it for, like, hand disruption. Panic Mask doesn't help us too much in this matchup. I'm trying to think if it would really come into effect. I don't believe it does. But, I mean, I'm not sure. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Adrenaline Brain for 10 damage. Pesky, but it's not fixing any math just yet. Next turn, it'll start cooking, though. And he's got Research in hand. Okay. That's probably what he grabbed off Shinobi Blade, if I had to take a guess. EXP Share, not a bad card to draw into. And we're going to see another Greninja come into play. But I'm not too scared of Mirage Barrage either, which is Greninja's second attack. It's similar to Rapid Strike Urshifu, just does 120 to 2 Pokemon. Because my active Pokemon, as long as he does not use Boss's Orders, will only take 40 damage from that, so not too much. I think I will Iono here. I don't know what card he searched for. Oh no, I'll judge. I'll save Iono for later. And hopefully put them at 1 or 2 cards. But I think I'm going to do Panic Mask here. I want to look for Cape to put on my benched Goodra, just to get Panic Mask out of the deck. And we'll see what where this judge takes us. Perfect, there it is. Alright, there's the Cape. And, I mean, that's a pretty dead hand, but I've got pretty much everything I need to finish out the game, save some hand disruption supporters. This is why, though, I don't play a draw engine, really. I don't, and I don't play research, I just play hand disruption cards, because at this point, like, I don't think we need anything else to carry us through the game, and I'd rather just stop my opponent from getting a massive hand. So if we could just judge Iono Span every single turn, I think that's much more annoying than really doing anything else. He goes for a retreat here, which is fine. I'm not upset about that. This is still, we're still able to one-shot this. So I'm curious if he's going to go for Shinobi Blade or if he's going to Mirage Barrage. He goes for the Devolution. Okay. Or, I mean, he takes it out. He probably won't play it. This one is threatened by it because it's taken some damage, but we do play the Mist Energy, which stops all effects of attacks. So TM Devolution actually doesn't work on a Pokemon with Mist. And he goes for the Mirage Barrage, okay. That's, like, honestly, I'm fine with that. And I think here we're just going to do some general thinning. I'm just going to get rid of some cards, take out a random Pokemon. Just use the Nest Ball. We're not going to do it. But if we top deck Judge, I mean, it'll be out of the deck, so I don't really need it. How much health are you at? You're at 90. So this Goodra will probably die next turn. Which is fine. I mean, it definitely did its job. Both his attackers are within a Rolling Iron range for KO. So that's big for us. Because remember, he's 3-shotting us. We're 2-shotting him right now. So as long as this one doesn't get evolved, I'm not super scared yet. Our opponents played 2 Rare Candies and Frogadier somewhere. So they use that middle evolution here. So he's probably got another 2 Rare Candies left, which is a little scary. And he's got Shinobi Blade, so we could search for him. So, you know, he'll be getting that Greninja going soon. So, I mean, here we really just need to find Boss's Orders or Hand Disruption. Really any supporter except for Morty's and Arven, and we're cooking. I mean, you know, fair play. He's moving on to the active. Honestly, I probably would have put that damage on the benched one. Just because he's still KOing that one no matter what. So I don't know how useful that damage was. And he might as well have gotten 30 more here, but you know, we'll see. I mean, we got 250 health left on our benched Goodra, unless he plays Vacuum, which also would be a little scary. So let's see what we can do here. If nothing else, I mean, we're taking the 2-prize KO, and we are just a Boss's Orders away from winning. We got a Nest Ball. I'm just gonna burn that too. I don't see a point in keeping it in the hand. We're gonna swing for KO. And we're going to see if he could get rid of Goodra this turn, or if we could get Boss's Orders. His deck is running low, too. I mean, no shoddy decks out, but it's there. Iono's going to go crazy next turn. That is an awesome prize card to take. I don't care if we're at 2 cards, but we're putting them at 2 cards, and there is the Rare Candy Greninja. That is the one thing I did not want to see, so that's a little annoying for sure. I mean, he's doing 90 damage a turn, so he's... Let's see, after this. Yeah, now next turn, this one is going to leave Goodra's KO range. So this is where it gets scary. But Rotom is still on the board, so we are still a boss away from victory. I think what saved us here was going for that early boss KO on their Pidgey, because now they don't have Pidgeot every turn, and I think that's really helped us out this match. Let's see. I mean, if he plays Vacuum, he's probably going to search it here, and I'm going to Iono it to the bottom. And yeah, I mean, I'm just going to... I don't need anything off Arven, so I'm just going to take these, and I'm going to at least put an Arceus VSTAR on the bottom of the deck, because that's a dead card. And I'm going to see if I could draw into Boss here. That would be the biggest thing possible. Alright. Well, if he does not KO us this turn, we win. We got 130 HP, which is... Yeah, actually, I think he needs Vacuum. I mean, Adrenabrain will put us at 100, but he's only swinging for 90, so we might legitimately win this game with 10 HP left. But let's see. I mean, he could play Iono. We haven't seen many of those. But I think off that... Did we just see a Shinobi Blade, 10 HP? Did I math right? I did math. Oh my gosh, that is a terrifyingly close game 1. This is an awesome game, though, against Greninja EX. I mean, you can see, like, you really don't need another Pokemon besides Goodra. We'll hit him with the thumbs up. That might be one of the closest games I've ever played. I'm gonna take Rotom just because I know I don't need a count. I don't need to worry about me not being able to do math. We're gonna take the game. We're gonna take game 1. That's gonna wrap it up with a dub for Goodra Noivern, and I will see you guys in game 2. Alright, welcome back for game 2. We did get to choose the coin flip. I'm going to be running heads. But man, that first game was insane. 10 HP victory over Greninja EX. That is mental, and we definitely want to go first. Need that attached pass. You know how Arceus works. But yeah, no, I'm in utter disbelief about that first game. And we mulligan here, and we show literally everything to our opponent. But luckily, we also see their deck. This is it's a pretty poor turn. And we're playing Lugia. Okay. This is a pretty poor opening hand. I mean, what's going to help us is we're going first. What's going to hurt us? Pretty much the rest. We got nothing else. We got attach pass, and I don't even necessarily want to Ultra Ball and get a Goodra V right now on the bench, because we might need EXP share and the rest of the energy. That might have saved us, because now we might get an early Goodra. So I'm going to attach Mist here, and I'm going to Ultra Ball away. I hate to get rid of EXP share against this deck. I really do. I might get rid of an Ultra Ball. We're not going to be able to Moisture Star this game. No shot. I'm not banking on top decking in an Iono. That's an awful idea in a deck like this. But I might need it for energy acceleration. So we're just going to hope we got it more, at least 2 more metal in the deck. We'll save this for a Goodra in case we need it, in case they get a KO before we can fully set up. Yeah, I think I like this the most. Okay, we'll see. And a Goodra is prized. That is bad news bears. It's very bad. Do we have cape? At least we do. Alright. You got lucky getting rid of the metal. No, oh, actually, no. Yeah, we kept the water, so we still got 3 water left. Alright, this is pretty bad. We can't use Moisture Star, sadly. We're gonna have to Starbirth because, I mean, I got nothing to work with this in this hand. But I mean, we're still not down for the count. I've had some fairly good success against Lugia with this deck. Because when you use 2 Goodras, I mean, we only have 1, so it's gonna be scary. But when you use 2 Goodras, you run them out of energy. And I've taken games, a bunch of wins against Lugia just because they don't have enough energy left to attack. So that's what I was scared of right there. There's no Archeops in discard yet, though, which is super nice to see. And they're down a Chinchino. That's huge for us. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So if they have no... I mean, Lugia plays 16 energy, 17 max. So if... Okay, they still don't get an Archeops. It's kind of nice to see. If we see that there's 17 energy in play, we could just go for a boss trap and just run them out of cards in their deck. I've done that a couple times against Lugia, and they're taking another Chinchino, which is interesting because they got rid of 1, so I don't know if they play a 4/4 line, but if they do, that's bad. And Judge was the perfect card to draw into. Their hand didn't seem too great, but my hand was worse, so we had to run the Judge. And we did get the DTE, which... I mean, I as tempted as I am to not Starbirth, we need to evolve this Goodra. We only have 1 in the deck. We don't have anything to do next turn. And I'm going to save this in case they play Jamming Tower. But I am going to Starbirth here. And I think I might just go for definitely Goodra. And I like Judge just to keep their hand shuffled if they got a Research or Carmine or something like that. I don't hate Enhanced Hammer. I think this is definitely the play. And pray to the Pokemon gods that we get Goodra VSTAR off this prize. And we're gonna swing here. 2 water, 1 metal. We're gonna pray Goodra lives 1 more turn. Or not Goodra, Arceus, because I always try to do this with my energy just to make it so it's a little easier to set up both Goodra. I mean, you could fully set up 1 Goodra, but then it's like impossible to get the other one out of the active or attack with it sooner. So I don't know. I found like a 2-1 split usually off Trinity Novas is a bit more helpful, especially when like our opponent, you know, we're playing Lugia, but they have no Archeops in discard yet. We've gotten rid of 1 Minchino. They flip Tails, which is great. That's not Lugia V-Star. That's not Archeops. So we're getting a little lucky, but 2-1 split is usually my way to go. If they had a very aggressive start, I probably would have ran 3 energy on this Goodra. But based on what we're seeing, okay, there's 1 Archeops. And my go-to rule, if Judge can give them less cards, we might as well run it. If we judge them into the nuts, I mean, that's just how it is in card games sometimes. But we're going to go in with Judge, and that's not a bad... It's a pretty bad hand, but I mean, we got energy, we got a stadium. There's not much we could do. We just got to pray we start getting this Goodra V-Star out of here. And we'll take both our metal energies. If we had an evolution, we would be cooking this game, but you know, we'll see what's up. I mean, they could play Jamming Tower now. They really don't know I play many tools. They don't know what my ace spec is, so you know, that's why I'm a little scared of Jamming Tower or Silent Tower. I forgot the actual name of it, which I've seen in Lugia. But they play Mesagoza, which I will get rid of with a Lost City. And they flip head. So there's Lugia V-Star. But that is Archeops, actually. Okay. So do they have an Ultra Ball in hand or something like that? Or they read the wind again. That is massive for us. Absolutely massive. So I will... Oh, that's upsetting. I was going to say, I'll spin this and hope I flip Tails just so I don't reveal I don't have Goodra. I don't want them necessarily to know that. But now they're going to for sure. Yep, alright, so I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I'm just going to try to thin the deck as much as possible here. Try to get us a better draw. I usually take evolutions first just so I don't accidentally play a basic to my bench. I'll start playing extra energy here in case I need to retreat it and keep it for the end. We're going to keep doing that. I'm going to bump the Mesagoza because if I could stop them from getting Lugia V-Star, that would be amazing. And we'll swing with Arceus again. And now we will have seen half our prize cards. So here's to praying we get a bit lucky as well. And there it is. Alright, now, I mean, and Iono, those are the perfect... perfect prize cards. It would be a shame though if they don't get going. I mean, I hate to beat down on a deck, but after playing through the Silver Tempest format, I am not... There is no pity from me taking out a Lugia like this. But we're going to see what our opponent has here. If he doesn't KO this, I'm retreating. I'm just retreating into Goodra, and I'm going to force him to extend early on with his energies a bit harder. There's the Legacy. Okay. So he might be doing that just to buy a turn where we take no prize cards. And he Iono's here, which is like the most annoying thing possible. We just got Goodra, now we say peace to Goodra. But at least we got some cards that are pretty playable. And he scoops. Alright. I mean, there it is for game 2. Goodra destroying Lugia. I mean, our opponent didn't draw into the best, which definitely hurt them. But I think the best thing to see was how quick you can get set up with Goodra. And, I mean, even if he was set up, I was sitting fairly confident in that game. I mean, even that turn, we had Nest Ball to shuffle the deck, hopefully put Goodra back on top, and Morty's to draw 4. And I would have liked our odds finding... I think we had 2 other Ultra Balls in the deck, maybe 3, and a Goodra. I mean, there was a good chance we would have got that third Goodra out. I was liking where we were sitting there, but that wraps it up for Game 2. Let's see if we can make our first video a 3-0 record with Goodra Noivern. Alright, jumping into match number 3, let's see if we could close out a 3rd victory for Arceus Goodra Noivern. I mean, so far we had a amazing first game, blew out Lugia in a second game with them getting a bit unlucky and us also having an insanely dominant start. And let's see what the third game will take us. We are going first. which could mean Raging Bull, and we finally showcase Noivern, which we do have in the starting hand. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, just to get it in the video and show what that little bat could do. But let's see, because they do mulligan here, and it looks like it is going to be Raging Bull Ogerpon. So that is the most popular deck right now on the tournament scene online, if you look at Limitless. And we will take the 2 mulligans. We have an awesome starting hand with this deck. So let's see if we could get both Noibats out. Wow, that is exactly what we wanted. So we are scared of a first turn boss, but I am just going to attach the energy here and pass. If they get a turn 1 boss KO on Noibat, I will be scared. But right now, we're sitting in a super dominant spot. I mean, we got Arceus VSTAR, we got Noivern EX. For situations like this, I get really tempted to put a 1-of Turo in the deck. Honestly, I thought I definitely had one in there for a while. I forgot what I took it out for, and it might have been Panic Mask, because Guardy was just much more popular at the higher levels of tournaments, and Panic Mask does wonders against Guardy. So I think this is, you know, if I put a Turo back in, Panic Mask might be the thing I cut, but it's for situations like this, but they don't come up every single match, so I don't know if it's completely necessary, but, you know, it definitely is crucial for times like this. And they get rid of Asadas with the Earthen Vessel, which is massive. They get rid of Vacuum too, which is another big card, because now Panic Mask might be able to save Noivern EX from getting bossed up from the bench if I get enough damage on their attackers. So that's going to be a Raging Bull. They did play Squawk, right? Yeah, they got rid of a bunch of energy. Okay. They have not played a supporter for turn, but they are down a Sada and an Iono. So we'll see. There's Pokegear. We will see a supporter, and it is Professor Sada's Vitality. So that'll accelerate some energy into play. Greninja, okay. So this is where Noivern's huge against decks like this, because they only play basic Pokemon. I mean, they don't have anything else in their deck. So if we could set up a Covert Flight, or ideally 2 Noiverns fully set up, I mean, our chances of winning really kind of skyrocket at that point. But, you know, we're going to see what they go into, and it might be a Burst Roar from the looks of it. Actually, he didn't even play the Sadas he took, so he might just be holding it for next turn. Okay. I mean, if they play the fighting type Ogerpon, the Cornerstone Ogerpon, I think it is, we might have seen it there off that Nest Ball. That does have Shred. It can go through Noivern, but it takes 3 energy to set up. And I think we can usually run it at that point. So he might just go for a turn 1 KO on Arceus VSTAR, which would pretty much mean we win the game. We just need a dodge Prime Catcher here. That's it. If we dodge Prime Catcher or Poke Catcher, we're not playing a single other Pokemon. We are running it with 1 Noivern, and you will see what Noivern EX can do to a deck like Raging Bull. They got a 7-card hand, so okay, Bellowing Thunder. Do they take the full KO? If they do, we are sitting in the perfect spot to walk away with the 3rd game and go 3 for 3 on the first video for the channel, which would absolutely just make my week. There it is. Alright, so, I mean, we're just gonna... See, now I don't want to play a second Noibat, because I don't want them to go Prime Catcher Boss and take that Noivern EX out. So I think here, I'm just going to attach this here. I like Panic Mask. I mean, I don't think any one tool is necessarily better in this other match. Do we have the other Noibat? We do. I mean, we were sitting perfect for this game. The one thing I want to get at this point is Mist. Raging Bolt usually does not play TM Devo, but on the off chance they do, I'd like to have Mist Energy on, but I mean it's really not a necessity. We're just gonna be swinging Covert Flights until our opponent picks up the cards, or we walk away with that many attacks and 6 prize cards taken. Yeah, if you notice though about this deck, I mean the reason Noivern is so dominant, none of their cards have shred. I mean Ogerpon's a solid draw engine. You know, this is Oko and absolutely everything. I mean the thing hits like a truck, but they don't play any evolution Pokemon, so we're just gonna run away with Covert Flight. And I mean again, you know, I feel like if he had Cornerstone Ogerpon, which is usually the only shred attacker that I've seen in Raging Bolt, we would have seen it off that turn 1 since they had so many chances with Nest Balls and stuff to get Pokemon on their bench. And since they didn't take it, I feel a little safer that they don't play it. So that I mean, they're digging through their deck, but from what I know, it doesn't... I don't know what they could look for that could get through this Noivern. I mean, they could Lost Vacuum, Panic Mask away. Cool. If they team Devo, we just replace it. But again, I want to go for the miss just for safety purposes. I mean, you never know. But I mean, this was a big. I mean, it was a phenomenal starting hand, but that was a big. We did get a bit lucky, I guess, that they killed that Arceus. Even if they didn't kill it, because they kind of knew what we were going for here. I wasn't super scared because we had Noibat and Noivern EX, our other copy, in the deck, and they weren't prized. So, I mean, we could have got another out and, you know, got going there. But, I mean, we're going to see. I mean, they're drawing a lot of cards, so they're looking for something, which is always scary. But, I mean, you know, I'd honestly like to see what it is. But yeah, I mean, this is the deck. It's a nice anti-meta rogue deck. It's got some of my old-time favorites. I mean, I love my Arceus decks. I think it's a pretty solid card that, you know, it's got some setup potential, KO potential. I've always loved Goodra, Hisuian Goodra. It doesn't matter. I think it's one of the cutest dragons ever. I love the card. I think it's a super unique ability, attack. I love tank decks. I love Goodra as a Pokemon. The thing's adorable. And, I mean, Noivern... I love Covert Flight because I loved Flying Pikachu VMAX before it rotated, and Covert Flight is as close as I get to that in the standard format. All the way down to the free retreat on the card, so that's kind of where Noivern came into play with me. But, I mean, you know, these cards together just create a perfect anti-meta deck for a lot of the decks we're facing in the meta right now. And, I mean, I'll run Iono here just to do it. Make their hand a little smaller, but... Okay, we don't get the mist, but that's fine. You know, it's no big deal. I'm not gonna play Lost City yet. I don't know if they have a Pokemon I need to get rid of, but if they do, I want to play Lost City then, so I could boss Lost City, whatever Pokemon that may be. Because I don't know if they have something that doesn't have Shred, and I'd rather play safe than sorry. And I'd rather just make sure I've got both of these. Although if the board state stays like this, I think next turn I'll Arven for Ultra Ball on whatever tool, and I'll just start thinning my deck out at this point. They'll definitely deck out before me. That's not something I'm worried about at all, but before either of those happen, we'll probably take enough KOs, or enough attacks to get some KOs, and they just scoop. So there it is. That is all 3 games with Arceus VSTAR, Goodra VSTAR, and Noivern EX. We went 3 for 3 today, which is absolutely amazing. I will make sure to post the deck list down below in the description. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the future. And if there are any decks you want me to check out and put in a video, please let me know. I'd love to play it. And I'll be streaming soon, and I'll put the links for all my socials and my Twitch down below as well. So hopefully I could see you guys, you know, pop out in some other environments like Twitch or Twitter or something like that. So thank you again. Have a great day. Peace, y'all.